Hey guys, I just want to jump on this bandwagon and talk to you guys about the claiming situation with Haiden Deegan down at Loretta's. I'm sorry I'm a week late on it, a little bit longer than that actually. I had to take care of some business family-wise. We lost a member of our family, so but anyways, the thing that I really want to touch on is the media. The mainstream media, the Pulp MX specifically. I'm not calling out Steve. I think what he did, I respect what he did. He talked to everybody involved. But at the same time, he releases a video at the end of his talk show, and he basically says that there were lies being told and implied that it was Brennan's side of that there was lies because of who he talked to. You know, no manufacturer would ever put any pressure on another dealer or anybody else to stop this claim. And that's the most ridiculous, naive thing I've ever heard. And Steve, if you see this or it gets back to you, I'm calling you a sellout, buddy. I know you have connections with Yamaha. I know that you're doing it for the greater good of the sport. Overall, you don't want to, bash the sport in general and make it have a black eye. But it already exists, buddy. It was already there, and this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I went to Loretta Lynns a couple times. I unfortunately never got a chance to race it. But I was there in the 90s when a claim was made on a Kawasaki. I'm sorry I can't remember who it was, but I believe it was a pro circuit bike, if not the Kawasaki factory, actually. And what they did at that time was the claim was presented, and Kawasaki corporate said, okay, well, if that's the case, we don't want to lose this bike. We don't want to lose the technology getting out to the public. So the rules allowed for counterclaims. And they put up the money for 9 other teams or riders that were in that race that were, sponsored by Kawasaki to go and make counterclaims. And then that took it from one person making a claim to 10, and it became a lottery. So the guy's chances of getting it was 1 in 10, and I believe he dropped it also. Or he just didn't even win that lottery. And they got the bike back and nothing happened. And this rule has been around, and it's kind of like an unwritten thing that you don't go against it, but it's the stupidest thing ever because all the factories and all the industries have these kids coming up and they give them bikes that are essentially works bikes. Some are at different levels than others. I'm not going to say everything is the same. I don't believe in absolutes, but this is just ridiculous what they did to this kid Brennan. How you can say on your show that it's impossible or a false narrative that the industry, Yamaha specifically in this case, wouldn't put pressure on the dealer or pressure on Brennan himself to go ahead and get rid of this claim, that's just crazy. Of course they did. They all talk. The one thing people are forgetting is he's a single guy by himself with his group of people, like his dad and his engine builder, and everybody else is industry, and they're all coming together, like going over to Matt Walker's to put pressure on him, going to his dealer to put pressure on him. All these people are talking together. How in the hell does Brian Deegan even get in the same room? I don't care if anybody was in, I don't care if his dad was in there with him. That claim is made on the bike, and who owns the bike, which in this scenario is probably Star Racing owns the bike. But that should never have happened, ever. AMA should have locked that bike up, and it should have been a done deal. I get that he needs to have it to race other races, but you have it until the next morning when they do their business with it, Give it back to him, and anything they do, if they change out the engine, if they change out parts, he gets the original as-is race trim engine plus whatever else they change out. That's the way the rule is written. And no one has ever had the balls to stand up against the industry and do it. And they got Tim Carter in there putting pressure on this kid. You know, I think the AMA in this scenario was okay, other than they just didn't run everybody else off. They should have run. Tim Carter had nothing to do with it and shouldn't have had to be saying anything about it. He's just a promoter. It should have been basically between Brennan and however the bike was titled. I'm assuming it's a Star racing bike, and it should have been some representative of Star, and that's it. The only two people that should have been involved in this. And they put all this pressure on him. Now they've given this kid they basically blackballed this kid. I hope another sponsor steps up. His sponsor up there in Canada, dude, I'm going to use the F word here, you know, but not say it. You're a jerk. Pulling this kid's bikes, I get it's at least you give him, you know, the bikes to run certain events. But pulling his bike and basically pulling his sponsorship from him after this scenario because you don't want the blowback, that's crazy. That's just crazy talk. And you should expose if you got pressured from above by Yamaha, you should be on YouTube right now saying so. Don't be a freaking wimp, man. This stuff's got me boiling. I can't believe how this goes. And Haiden, it's not about Haiden. It's not even really necessarily about Deegan. But Yamaha, through Star, essentially allowed a works bike to come into play. Because Haiden, they've propped him up. I don't blame Deegan. I don't blame Haiden, sorry. I blame corporate Yamaha and Star Yamaha for propping this kid up as if he's a pro in the amateur ranks. I understand you go to that event and you need a bike that's better than stock. But the rules say double. So that bike should never have had anything on it as a total that would put that thing up over $17,000 or $18,000. And you guys didn't want to lose it. And that's why you guys as a corporation, Yamaha, Star, the dealer up in Canada, all working together, the big guys against the little guys, like always, squashed this and put pressure on that kid to rescind his claim, and you all should be ashamed of yourselves for doing it. And AMA, you don't want this to come out, and you didn't want the black eye as a total, then change the freaking rules. Change the rules. Just go ahead and say, run what you got. No matter what, no claims can be made, because you say that you can make a claim, yet you guys work as a whole to not make that happen. So I just wanted to get this out here. Yes, I'm doing it for the clicks. I freely admit it. I don't see the negative in that. I'm also just giving you my opinion. I mean, I don't have all the facts, but enough of it has come out that I can base a good opinion on it. And I think it's just naive to believe that these big corporations don't, whether they can or not is another thing too. Like, just because I'm sitting here saying, you know, they put pressure, the kid, the 17-year-old kid was led to believe it could happen. And they didn't try to squelch that. And they're not coming on your shows and going to admit that, oh yeah, we called and, you know, we put a little pressure on Matt Walker to get him to stop, or we put a little pressure on the dealer. You know, we made them maybe believe that we would pull their support and they wouldn't be able to continue their dealership, or whatever the scenario was. because like I said, I wasn't there. I don't have all the ins and outs, but I can guarantee you they gave the impression that something bad was going to happen to those guys, or they weren't going to continue to work with them or help them, or whatever the case is. And the thing about the engine builder, who cares? The rule didn't say that he couldn't be involved and he couldn't tear down that engine, and that might happen. I don't believe that he even cared, to be honest. I don't. That's just my personal opinion. I don't see how he could benefit all that much from it anyways, tearing it apart. We all know that the ECUs are locked. So, I mean, he might find some titanium shit in there, but he's not going to find anything specifically that would be advantageous to him in the long run. He's a small shop. He can't recreate what they're doing anyway, so... anyways, guys, I've rambled on enough here. I'm driving back home. Please comment. I want to see this go around. I'm glad to talk to you guys in the comment, either one way or the other. And I'll catch you on the next one.